Well, there's huge upheaval in the car industry at the moment. It's all mainly about the shift to electric vehicles because of the huge investment needed in lots of areas, changing production, creating new models and making sure consumers will actually buy them. But one of the key issues is creating the capacity to make enough batteries. And one of the big issues with batteries is that they need specific metals that are often difficult, expensive and environmentally damaging to get hold of. Well, a company called Deep Green is developing a new, and it says more responsible way to get them from the seafloor. Well, Deep Green's chief executive, Gerard Barron, joins me this morning. Gerard, welcome to you. Now, you're planning to get what you call these polymetallic nodules off the seafloor. How much does that cost compared with conventional mining in purely financial terms?
Yeah, hi, Ian. Well, and these are they, and they literally lie on the ocean floor. And so when you think about cost, the costs work very favorably because they literally lay on the ocean floor, and they are also full of very high grade battery metals, and so up to 10 times higher grade of material. And so we'll be able to produce the important battery metals like nickel and cobalt in the bottom quartile of the cost curve, and that's largely driven to the very high grade.
And what damage does it do to the ocean ecosystem, taking these off the ocean floor?
Well, Ian, there's no perfect solution. And so, but I always remind people that if we had our time again, we'd carry out extractive industries in parts of the planet where there was the least life. You know, we wouldn't go and rip up our rainforests, we'd go to our desert. And that's what we're dealing with here in the abyssal zone. It's around 4,000 meters below sea level. And it's a part of the planet that is the most common. It's the world's biggest desert. It just happens to be covered by 4,000 meters of water. And if we measure life in the form of biomass, there's around 13 grams of biomass per square meter. And if we compare that to the number one nickel producing country of being Indonesia, there's around 20 to 30 kilograms of biomass, life, living matter, that gets destroyed every per square meter.
Now, you've just announced plans to come to the markets via a merger with a so-called blockchain company, a SPAC. What are the benefits to going public for you?
Well, the main benefit is access to capital and being able to move forward the project in a timely manner. We expect to be producing battery metals in 2024. And so obviously being able to access capital on the best terms is a really positive thing for us. But there's another benefit, and that is the public stage that it gives us, because this is a really important topic. You know, the impact of producing metals isn't well understood. We know all about the impact of fossil fuels, but there hasn't been the same attention applied to what's the true impact of producing battery materials. And I can tell you now, it's not pretty. And so what our message is that we can produce those battery metals and massively compress the environmental and social impacts compared to producing those metals from land-based ore bodies.
Looking at the valuation of the company once you list, I mean, the putative valuation is around 2.9 billion US dollars. That seems a hell of a lot of money for a company that doesn't expect to go cash flow positive until 2027.
Well, what underpins the value is the resource. And so we control 3 license areas in this part of the Pacific Ocean. And we've already defined the resource on 2 of those areas. And so we know we have 1.6 billion tons of these guys lying on the ocean floor. And that's enough nickel and cobalt and copper and manganese to build around 280 million mid-sized electric vehicle batteries. And so, you know, any great resource company is always underpinned by the quality of the resource. And in our case, we have the world's largest undeveloped resource of battery metals.
Gerard, who owns the right to extract all these rocks from the seabed? Is it just a free-for-all or is it regulated?
No, it's regulated by the International Seabed Authority. And 50 years ago, Ian, the industry almost got started. There were many hundreds of millions of dollars invested. Many of the technological challenges were solved 50 years ago. But what hadn't been agreed was who owns the oceans. And so it was the United Nations that stepped in and stopped the progress then. But now there is a regulatory environment that allows us to explore, and we're through our exploration phase, which means we're through our environmental work. That latest expedition left San Diego 2 days ago, in fact, and so the pathway to extraction is now very secure, which it wasn't in the past, and that's why this industry is opening up now.
All right, Gerard Barron, fascinating subject. Really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.